Did you call bank? I call game.
What's good, podcast world? What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Charge It to the Game Sports Podcast. As you can see, we have a very special guest in the building. Mr. Tony Covington is joining us today. He's going to chat with us about a few things. His playing days with the Bucs. So, Bucs fans, our guy is here. I know we've been promoting it all week. I've been chatting with you guys. Shout out to Kim. We greatly appreciate you for reaching out to him and making this happen. But before we get started, guys, if you're on the YouTube page, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're on some of the podcast platforms, whether it be Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure you subscribe to that and leave some reviews. But hey, let's jump right into it. Mr. Covington, man, thank you for joining us, sir.
Oh, man, thanks for having me.
No doubt, man. So, before we get started with I know our Bucs fans like, hey, let's talk about Bucs football. Let's talk about that. But let's talk a little bit about your early life, man. So, growing up, where you grew up, and your early childhood, maybe from high school to college. What was that like?
Man, born and raised in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Parkland High School graduate. Man, high school was a blast, man. 3-sport athlete, football, basketball, and tennis. Yeah, I thought I was going to say baseball and track.
I did, really.
I knew I was going to flip you with that one. But yeah, I mean, I'm strong at all sports, all conference, all state. Well, maybe not the tennis. But yeah, man, high school was great. Real strong, supportive family, good group of friends. And for me, man, I always had a nice mix of friends, friends from the neighborhood that I grew up with, but then friends in school. I was in a lot of higher academic classes, so it varied. Let's just keep it a buck. I was in class with a lot of white folks, and it was cool, man. One of my good friends from the neighborhood, we had classes because he was strong academically as well, and we did our thing, man. But it was a nice eclectic mix, and you really got to just know all different sides of people, things that you should do, things that you shouldn't do. Growing up in North Carolina, dating black and white wasn't something that was out there in mass, but it happened. It happened, and so we had a good time, man. We had a good time in high school, and I was really blessed then to be able to get a scholarship to be highly recruited and get an opportunity to attend the University of Virginia.
Nice, man. So I guess could you tell us a little bit about your football career at University of Virginia? And I guess, like you said, coming out of high school, you were highly recruited. What positions did you actually play in high school?
Well, in high school, I was a starting quarterback, and I played DB. I didn't leave the field.
Right.
I think maybe even on punt team, I was out there. So when we switched from offense to defense, somebody would bring my gloves on the field, and so I could line up in corner and hold it down on that side. And we had my senior year, we had a really strong team. I didn't even play quarterback the first 3 games because I broke my hand the first day of camp in the summer. So it was funny because I'd always played defense, growing up my years of sports. And my junior year, when I came to Parkland, we had one of the top defenses in the state, very senior laden. So there was, I was like, Dad, okay, I guess I'll play quarterback then. And so I was the backup quarterback that played more than the starter my junior year. And then my senior year, I went that summer, I went to quarterback camps, I was ready to roll. And then I break my hand, and they're like, all right, well, you got a cast on. Hey, you can play defense. And so they had me over on defense, and I was absolutely destroying dudes, to the point where all the old heads would come back to the games. They'd be like, yo, we didn't know you could hit like that. You could have played, you could have played on our defense, and we'd have known that. So so it was wild. And so after the 3rd game of that year, then I slipped back into the quarterback piece, and then we ended up going 11-2, losing to the eventual state champs in the 3rd round of the state playoffs. And then it was off to UVA, man.
That's nice, man. That is what's up, man. So can you tell us a little bit about the transition? Because we have a lot of parents on, that listen to our podcast. We have some young athletes, whether it be high school and even college. About your transition from high school to college. Like, what was that like?
I think it was pretty fluid for me, man. My parents had the conversation with me. They're like, look, we always accentuated academics, so you know what that is. If you don't handle the business in the classroom, you can't play. Same thing applies when you go off to college. And so, it was real clear. They also incentivized me. Look, you get a 3.0 this first year, then we'll work on getting you a card after the first year. I was like, say what?
That's nice.
Okay.
Say no more.
So the academic piece was going to be on lock. I remember when I first got there, it's kind of like this mandatory study hall thing. And, they kind of had you in some classes that were like, I'm like, why does it seem like we're taking remedial English, and I was just like, I'm not about that. I've already had this stuff. I wasn't one of those slower kids coming in.
Exactly.
UVA is we call it the academical village because it's known for its academic reputation. But I was one of those kids that was ready for prime time in the classroom too. So got in, handled that business, and it was so funny, man. For me, I got to UVA, man. I was 164 pounds, soaking wet.
Wow. How tall? How tall were you?
5'11".
5'11". Man.
Yeah. So I was a little dude, skinny. Couldn't bench press 185 3 times. But I would knock you smooth into next week.
That's my type of guy,
man. For real. I have always been that the adage of it ain't the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. And so then when I got there and you really learned a weight program, training table, so then you're gonna put some meat and muscle behind all that big heart, bro. I was a problem. Problem. But I went, I believed so much in myself. I got to college, I had on the shades, the plaid Bermuda shorts, the pink shirt, because I was just like, all right, who job am I taking? It was just like, for me, that's how it was. And while, majority of my class, we were on the scout team, we were wreaking havoc on defense. I mean, because we were like, look, we're gonna try to make Saturday easy for them. And so we was putting heads to bed to the point where they'd be like, yo, can you stop? Can you stop hitting receivers like that? Can you stop? And so we was just like, yeah, all right, whatever. Right. Then I ended up tearing a ligament in my hand. So I ended up having hand surgery. So then I knew for sure that I was getting redshirted then. Okay. But it was that whole transition was, I was ready. I felt like I was ready for prime time, even though my body didn't say it. Mentally, I was. I knew I was ready academically, even though it was very challenging. And then mentally, on the athletic side, I felt like I was ready, even though my body said something different.
Right.
Okay,
man.
So I want to ask a question about the ligament damage. You said you had surgery. How long did it take for everything to, I guess, come back correctly? You get the strength of your hand and stuff like that.
Oh, I had the surgery. I was practicing a week later with a cast on out there, straight booming, dude. So that wasn't. Nah, it wasn't. Nah,
it's not a factor.
It wasn't a factor from that standpoint. I just couldn't catch the ball. I had to catch with the body if I'm trying to get the ball off. So a hand it's different. A hand is different from like a knee ligament or something of that nature. Right. Which hey, that happened in the league, and I'm sure we can talk about that later. But the hand piece was just let's cast this thing up and go make it do what it do.
Nice.
Oh,
man.
Yeah, all right. Cool.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your UVA football career. Like who was the coach back then? Like were you guys a solid team? Like who were some of your biggest competitors, or even maybe some of the bigger matchups for you individually as a player?
So when I got there in '86, redshirted that first year. Virginia had only been to one bowl game in the history of the school, and that was in 1984. That first year, most of our class got redshirted. We went 3-8. And so I'll never forget standing on the sideline, like, okay, what do people do over here? I'm not used to being on the sideline, knowing I wasn't playing, you know. And then it was just like,
man.
you know, then we're having to witness us go 3-8, and you know, that next off season, like, you know, get in the winter workouts, our class met together, and we're like, yo, never again. This is not happening. Never again. And so we went to work, you know, and we pushed the upperclassmen. You know, we quite honestly, we put some dudes on the bench that, you know, probably were playing better at. If you look at them, the body style, they looked the part. But you know, I can't give you what's under that left pectoral. I can't get that to you. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I put a 5th-year senior on the bench, and he came in and spelled me when I got tired. So, you know, I mean, it was, and that was a wrap. That was a 4-year start for me, and it was about us turning the program around. So that first year, a majority of my class started. We went to the All-American Bowl against BYU in Birmingham, Alabama. Beat them. Can't come back the next year. We go 7-4. We didn't make a bowl. The following year, we were 10-2. We opened the season against that year. We opened the season against Notre Dame in the kickoff classic. And I mean, they were loaded, and we were in the Meadowlands. They had Tony Rice was quarterback, and Rocket Ishmael, Ricky Waters, Mike Stonebreaker, Chris Zorich, Rocket Ishmael. I mean, they were absolutely loaded. They knocked our block off in that opening game. You know, we started off slow, and you know, we fought, came back, but we dug ourselves too big of a hole. The next week we were at Penn State in Happy Valley, Blair Thomas, and they were loaded. We went up there and got the dub, and we only lost one more game that year in the regular season, finished 10-2, ACC champs. Then we lost to Jeff George and his Illinois team in the Citrus Bowl. And then that last year came back. We were 7-0, number 1 in the country. Lost to Georgia Tech on a last-second field goal, and ended up that season finishing 8-4. We lost a quarterback. You know, Sean was down.
That's difficult. Yeah.
You know, I mean, Sean was just such an integral part of who we were as a team, and we were loaded, man. We were loaded offensively and defensively. You know, when you got Terry Kirby, Herman Moore, Sean Moore. We had some ballers. You know, 1st-round pick Ray Roberts at tackle, and you know, on defense, Chris Slade, Ray Savage. So we had some ballers on that side too. So then we lost Sean, and we had accepted the Sugar Bowl bid against Tennessee before Sean got hurt and all of that. So we kind of limp into the Sugar Bowl, and we got everybody talking bad about us. Tennessee was loaded. I mean, they had both of their tackles were 1st-round picks. They had Dale Carter. They had Chuck Smith. They had Carl Pickens. They had Alvin Harper. They were loaded. Yeah, they were loaded. Man. I'll never forget. Because the media had so much, and I always gave great fodder for the media. So because I talk trash 24/7. And so at the end of the day, my coach, as we got to the Sugar Bowl, there was no interview request, and I was just like, that's odd, because they usually come to me first. And so my coaches purposely kept them away from me, because they were like, we didn't want him to say anything. And so the last day of interviews, the coaches, they say, "Oh, Covington, you got an interview." And as I'm walking out, my DB coach, Spaz, was like, "All right, don't say anything stupid." And I was like, "I never say anything stupid. I said, I just tell the truth, and people don't know how to handle it." And so
that's what
I go to the press conference, and it was like, people were asking me questions, and I was very short. I was just like, not sure. They were like, "Well, Tony, we've always had such a good relationship. you seem to be, real short and curt today. And I was just like,
Right.
look, I said, I told y'all a long time ago, you can talk about the player Tony Covington, but don't talk about my teammates. You know
Yes,
what I'm
sir.
saying? And I said, so for the record, then I said, I started reading every single one of them and the articles that they had written about us. I just went down the road, read every one of them.
You
And
let
then
them
I
have
said,
it.
I let them have it. And I said, so I hope you get a good seat, get your popcorn ready. I said, because you're going to be in for the treat. I got up and walked out. I was good for walking out of a press conference, too.
Oh, yeah? That's what's up.
I was
That's
good
how
for
you know
that.
it's real.
I was good for that. Because when we were ranked number 1 and we lost to Georgia Tech, in the papers that week, Ken Swilling was a big safety that they had that played free safety, 6'3", 225. And, they were just like, oh, this, that, and the third. And I was just like, he's overrated.
Right.
And I was just like, I said, he's just a big safety that makes hits. I said, he's supposed to. He's 6'3", 225. He's supposed to hit people big.
Right.
I said, our safety led the nation in interceptions last year. I said, he's more versatile. He can cover man to man. He has great feet. He has great range. I said, I take him all day, every day. I ain't doing nothing but tell the truth.
Right.
Okay. So then when we lose the game, I walk into the press conference. They're like, well, Tony, you had a lot to say this week in the papers. What happened? I said, the best team didn't win today. I said, and when Tony Covington says someone is overrated, he means it. Got up, dipped up out of there because Herman Moore had absolutely destroyed Swilling.
Oh, yeah. And he's a receiver, right? He's played for the Lions, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely destroyed him. And I was just like, it's just what I said.
Yeah.
And then the coach was a little pissed after the game. It's just like, oh, Price, Covington, you can't say those things in the papers. And I was just like, and I kind of just looked at him like, coach, I'll do respect, but I mean, look, really? I said, we handled that game.
Exactly.
And I said, so, I mean, and like I said, my coach, love him to death. Rest in peace. George Welsh, he was the man.
Right.
He was the man. I mean, and we will follow him. He was kind of that strict. He and Joe Paterno were coach. They come from that Navy kind of mindset.
Oh, okay. Real military.
Plain uniforms, and and he adjusted to us as we came in because we were different. We were different than the athletes that he was used to coaching. So he adjusted, but he had his system, and we followed that system. We believed in that system, and at the end of the day, we run through a wall for him. And we were just a tight unit, and I think what made us good, man, is that we were tight on the field and off the field. We had each other's back, and it was an eclectic mix. It was the wild, crazy white dudes, the big linemen. We love those. Love too. But we all did it together,
right?
Because you knew when they buckled it up, it was a wrap come Saturday. It was you could trust folks was gonna hold it down. You wasn't looking at no color lines. It was like, we go out here as a brotherhood. And we handled the business. So it was a great time. And we say to this day that when that class of 86 came in, we changed the dynamic of Virginia football.
That's what's up, man.
All right.
That is really good stuff. Go ahead, Jay.
I mean, it's just interesting because ever since I've been watching, I got into college a little bit later, but all I know is Virginia, I'm not exactly sure where they've been as far as like being a team and being good as a team, but I know they always produce quality prospects for the NFL. So I always wanted that dynamic and probably where did it start? When did it start? And just getting the background from you, it's like, oh, that's kind of crazy that I've been kind of wondering that for a while now. Yeah. And that may be a turning point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I think it was probably even the class before ours. So like, so when I remember coming on a recruiting visit and I'm looking at Barry Word wearing number 4, sitting at dotting the I tailback, Don Mikowski, Magic, wearing number 1, Howard Petty wearing the number 11. I was like, those dudes look real sweet out there, and they were putting in work. You had John Ford, wide receiver extraordinaire out of Belle Glades, Florida. So, you had some pieces, Big Jim Dombrowski was a first round draft pick out of New Orleans, back in the day. And so I think that you started to get a couple of guys like that, and then they started to be more en masse when we came in. And then, when you start winning, you got guys that want to stay in a state, so you got a guy like a Terry Kirby, who wants to stay home. Chris Slade, they want to stay home. It was that mix, and more guys started coming once we continued to win. And as we left the program, and the Poindexters, then the Barber twins. You got talent coming year after year after year, and man, it was dope. It was dope.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So, like I said, you did college, you did your thing. When you got to when did you go pro? Your drafted? Well, your junior year or your senior year?
No, that was my senior year.
Okay, so your senior year of college, what was your goal? What were you looking to get accomplished? Did you even know that you could play on the NFL level? Was the NFL your goal, or was it like you went to college for academics, but it's like if I go pro, I go pro? Like you know.
I went to the University of Virginia to get that degree to get a good job when it was over. It just so happens that I had a great college career. And when it came time for that, folks was like, yo, man, you can go pro. I was like, word? Because for me, it was, I love to play on Saturday. I focused on Saturday. And if something was to happen outside of that, okay, cool. I knew I could play, and so when the whole league piece came around, I go to the NFL Combine. Oh, as a matter of fact, even before that, I played in the Japan Bowl. So it was really? It was the Japan Bowl. It was a senior all-star game. Okay. And Sean was in, and Sean was like, "Yo, y'all need to get my man Covington." So I go out, and it was all this talent out in Japan. I'm hanging with Todd Light from Notre Dame, me and my man Michael Stonebreaker. Walking around Japan, having a good time. But you saw guys out there, and you're like, okay, yeah, I can play with these dudes. I mean, it never fazed me. The stage, I never looked at the stage like, ooh, this is big. No, I just like, I love to play. I know I could play. I believed in myself, and despite all of these years of folks doubting me consistently throughout my life, or he too little, or he ain't smart enough, or he ain't fast enough, or that was kind of a lot of that. Yeah, that was a recurring thing all my life, dude. Because like I said, I wasn't the biggest in the neighborhood. Right. I wasn't the biggest on Friday night, but I was electric on Friday night too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so you let them know, it was just like, I mean, I'll never forget. Virginia wasn't even recruiting me. I was in the hallway. We were about to play a game. We had a tailback that was phenomenal, Kennard Martin. I mean, senior year, he had like 2,500 yards, 25 touchdowns. That was my tailback. Right. And so all these teams were recruiting him. So I was in the hallway looking at film on a Friday during the day, and I see this guy walking towards me. He has a V on the front of his sweater. And so he walks up, and I'm looking at the tape, and he was just like, he's like, tell me about Kennard Martin. I was like, that's number 22. And I was like, he's the genuine article for real. And then he was just like, wow. So he watched it. And I was like, yo, you should also check out number 7 too. He's a player. And he was like, who is that? I said, that's me. And so, he bust out laughing. Shook his hand, and I balled that night, and the recruiting took off. And so it was just, but it was just like I said, it's always that belief in myself. I think it was probably having that supportive base of mom and pops who were there. Right. even when it was a struggle. And I give you an example in high school, man. My junior year, I told you about that top defense we had. So we had an inter squad scrimmage. Okay. So I'm the backup quarterback. So of course I'm going against the first team defense. Yeah. I was getting destroyed in that scrimmage. I mean, I was getting hit left and right. And these were some big, hard pipe hitting brothers. So bruh, it was not pretty. I mean, I'm getting up off the ground, tears streaming down my face.
You should have cursed your offensive line out. Tell the boys to block.
Talking trash. I'm still talking trash. I'm like, yo, fella, just give me a little bit of time. Bro, I was just throwing interceptions because I had no time. So I'm trying to just get it out.
Set up. Yeah.
And when the scrimmage was over, I remember walking past the offensive line coach, who was the head basketball coach. He was like, "Oh hell, he's scared." And I looked at him like, "What?" Man, I went home. That was a Friday. I went home Saturday. Me and my best friend were in the backyard. I had a blocking dummy. football, we were just working. I was working on the option, working on stuff, Go back the next week. I'm in practice, like I'm flying around. They're like, whoa. So it was the first game that week. We were playing a team from Charlotte, pouring down rain. We weren't doing anything. They put me in, and I fumbled a snap. Boom, fall on it. They snatched me out. Go back that next day in the backyard, work with my best friend again. The next week, we played a team in Greensboro. They put me in the game. Offense wasn't moving. I drove us right down the field. Touchdown. Next time I get it, we run in the split back veer, that wide veer.
Yeah.
Faked into the line, kept it, hit the corner. I'm gone. About 70. Now, I got caught. I got caught though.
Oh, you can't get caught. Come on, we can't get caught.
Look.
I can't talk.
Dude, the funny part is that the fellas was like, yo, man, this is 4A. I don't know what you used to, but these dudes can run. Yeah. And so I'm like, all right, okay, whatever. I'm a quick dude, boom. So I break out. I'm way out in front. I'm like, I started throttling down. I'm like, all of a sudden I heard footsteps. I'm like, I tried to
you just so used to taking off.
Yeah. But and from that point, it was just on and popping, man. Whenever I came into the game, bro, I moved the team right down the field. It was, even like the seniors, they believed in me, because I like I said, I had that confidence. They knew I was going to rock hard with it. And so it just that kind of became that recurring thing for me throughout my career. Even in college, you're not going to see my name up with all these great statistics and return jerseys and on billboards. You're not going to see that, but they refer to me as former Cavalier great Tony Covington, because on Saturdays I was getting it done, and they looked to me for leadership. I was a true leader, and my production was sick. And you knew you could count on it. I'm gonna talk that trash, but you got to be able to
back it up.
You got to be able to walk it, and so I always been able to walk it. So hey, here's what it is.
Yeah, man, that is a great story, man. I just love the trash talk. Man. When I played ball, I was never really a trash talker, but I was more of a let my pads do the talking type. But like I said, it's great to hear coming from the other side. Somebody that enjoyed that trash talk, man. That's great.
I talk trash at the quarterback position.
That is crazy. Like that's unheard of. You know what I mean?
It was so crazy because like from my junior year, bro, we ran the ball a ton, and I would run bootlegs, I would run option, I would run veer, and so come my senior year, I'm coming up to the line. And that would be like, yeah, Covington, we ain't going for that bootleg stuff tonight. We don't even try. This is the middle linebacker saying it's across the line for me, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, all right, we're going right here on one.
Oh, you let him know.
I let him, bruh. My thing was stop us.
Yeah, stop us.
Yeah, that's true.
Stop
you can know what I'm doing, but if you can't stop it, you can't stop it.
Yup, there it is. There it is. It was just a mentality. I mean, I toss a sweep. I'm trying to get around the corner to lead block. Type, right. Just different animal.
That is what's up, man. That is nice. So tell me. So University of Virginia, you get what drafted in the 4th round. So tell me about your draft experience, man. Like, what was that like? And then ultimately, what was it like being drafted by the Buccaneers? Because at that stage, like I said, I'm a Buccaneers fan. But at that point in time, when I was doing my research, they were not a good team at all.
Trash.
Yeah, they was big trash. Yeah,
trash.
But yeah, tell me about that experience.
So interesting, man. I don't have a great draft day story. I mean, back then it was 12 rounds.
Okay.
It was 12 rounds then, and so for me, it was still I was a 93rd pick. So it was that day one call, and man, I'm just down in the basement chilling, man, watching TV, and got the call, and super excited. Ran upstairs. My mom was going through cancer, so that was a bigger, thing for me, and that was and so she had it when I was in college. It went into remission, then it came back, and so. I just remember running up the stairs saying, "You're never gonna have to work again." And she just started smile. She had this smile on her face that is burned in my mind. Then I just went back downstairs and started watching TV again. You know, my boys, folks was trying to hit me up. They were like, "Yo, where's Cub? Where's Cub?" You know, I'm like, yeah, I mean, because it was just like, all right, you know, time to go to work. You know, and then so I mean, you know, I celebrated with them later on, but you know, it was, you know, my mom passed away the July after the draft, so she never got to see me play pro. You know, and so that going to the league was a different set of challenges because my number one fan, my number one cheerleader, you know, my everything wasn't there. You know, and so it was difficult to deal with that and then go to a place where I'd never been, didn't know anybody, and to make a professional football team because this is my job interview. I got to go now get this job, and it provided its sets of challenges, man. Simply from the fact that I missed her. I missed her so much, and it was trying to just push it and suppress it. But you know, I'm sitting in a dorm room, don't know anybody, studying my playbook, and you know, listening to Boys the Men, and you know, I mean, yeah, bro, it was hard,
tough,
bro.
Man.
It was hard.
Yeah, it was incredibly tough, man. You know, so like I said, you get drafted, go to the Bucs. Like, what were your expectations, man? Like I said, just going to that team. Did you know anything? Did you even know who the head coach was at the time and anything about him?
No,
a lot of people don't, man.
A lot of people
it was Richard Williamson.
Yeah,
I had no idea who dude was.
Did you even meet with some of the Bucs like coaching staff?
I remember talking to at the pro day. There was a guy from the Jerry Angelos, I believe his name was. I remember him saying, "I like the way you play," you know, and that was pretty much it. that was you know, it was different back then,
right?
And so you know, that was it, and boom, I was like, okay, cool, all right. And even then, man, you know, the doubters were there, like, oh, the Buccaneers suck. You know, I can't believe they drafted him, and he ain't gonna make the squad, and blah blah. Yeah, I mean, it just doubters. They always been there. So so yeah, I mean, you know, it was going there, just trying to do my job, to learn what I could. But you know, it was that same thing. I would still went in talking trash. Just that's
it wouldn't be you, right? It wouldn't be you, right?
It wouldn't be me. And you know, it was there I was as a rookie, 188 pounds, starting at strong safety.
Man, so you were starting as a rookie at strong safety.
Starting at strong safety. I was the nickel back. I was the dime back. So you know, I was a corner in college. I played one game of safety, and that was because our free safety was injured. So I played one game of safety. Safety was my natural position.
Right. Yeah.
But I had so honestly, corner helped me because I had the footwork. So when it came time to go to the NFL, I was a hitter. So there's a strong safety piece, but I had the feet and I could cover. So I was the dime back and the nickel back. Yeah. You know, so I'm on the line. I'm covering Chris Carter, Sterling Sharp. You know, I'm covering those dudes. And and then in a base package, we playing the Dolphins. There I am, all 5'11", 188, and you know, I'm on the line. And Farrell Edmonds is right across from me. You know, 260, 6'7". You know, so but that was just, you know, that's a big tight end. But it was that was just the nature. That was the nature of it. I had the technique. I had the physicality. Even though, like I said, you look at it, you be like, okay, he don't look like it, but he crazy. I can see he is crazy. He's crazy. You know, my dad was just like, boy, you throw your body around with reckless abandon. I was like, Dad, I don't know any other way.
That's how you gotta play though, man. Especially a position like that, you know, safety. Yeah, man.
Fact.
Go ahead, Jay.
Nah, man. That's absolutely crazy. I couldn't imagine myself looking at the opposite side of the field, so being that big. I mean, but then again, I'm not a bigger guy too, so I get it. I absolutely get it. Yeah, so.
I didn't even see the size. I didn't even, he was in another colored jersey. He in my way. That was That's just how I never I wasn't that dude that ducked anybody. I don't care how big they were. You got to go down. You gonna win some, you gonna lose some. But I'm gonna take the heat. I'm gonna bring the heat. I ain't gonna sit back and I'm gonna be the hammer, not the nail.
Yes, sir. That's how you're supposed to be, man.
Nah, that's just true. And I got one. I guess I got another question too. Like the speed. What happened with that? Like, were you already able to adjust? Because it seemed like you were good at what you did. That was your job and you excelled in it. So I mean, I now hearing you say that, I want to know like what was the big difference in the speed, or was there any speed at all that changed?
You mean the speed from college to NFL, right?
Yeah, the NFL,
right. Yeah.
Exponentially different. Different. And when I was going through it, I don't think I really realized it until after my rookie year. Virginia was playing in the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville. I went up, because I was going to go to the game. So I was at practice. And I remember standing on the sideline saying, is this a half speed drill? Because it just looked like they were going half speed. And I was so used to pace.
Right.
And so that's when it really hit me. I was just like, well, damn. They not moving slow. This is how they move, and what I'm doing on a regular basis. Oh, I get it. Because look, you got some grown ass men out there, and they livelihood. So bro, they got families to feed, and so bro, it's different, man. It's different.
Okay, all right. Okay.
I was gonna ask you, man. Hey, and at that day and age, because my pops was telling me, football in that area is a little different. Like, were there a lot of guys like on like sports enhancing drugs, like steroids and stuff like that? Like, did you come across any guys, or just did you, what was going on at that point with like steroids?
So I mean, I think there were guys that partook in those type of things to help enhance their play, but I just don't know about other than the same guys that you guys read about. I mean, going against Mandarich when he played for Green Bay. Okay,
that was a big dude,
story, but I wasn't kind of in tune with it. You know what I'm saying? I was just I was focused on me and mine, and let's go get this dub, and that's it. And the hardest part for me, the one thing that I had, man, was I had a great kind of support. I was Ricky Reynolds, who was a veteran cornerback for Tampa, and Ricky took me under his wing. I was his rookie, and Ricky kind of just showed me the ropes, what it was like to be a pro. And so I was blessed that I had that kind of mentorship coming from him. And, he was just like, man, he said, we ain't had nobody like you around here, because, game day, I'm amped. I'm listening to my rap music. I'm over in my cube just going ham.
The head nod,
right. And then it was, they announced the name. I'm running on the field, crowd going crazy. I'm running out to the fellas. We going. I'm headbutting, and he was like, he was like, because Ricky was kind of that he go into that zone, but it's just his zone, So when he go out there on that island, he locked down, and it was special. But whereas his was just that kind of silent one, mine was, I'm loud. Here I am. Let's go. I'm about to wreck somebody. I'm trying to spit your helmet. And Ricky, I go over to Ricky and butt heads. He was like, yo, you getting me too hype. He's like, but I had the blessing of him, because I remember, we started out that year. We were 0-5, man. I was just like, I was used to winning in college. So this losing, it was hard. It was hard because, I'll never forget, we were playing the Dolphins, man. And I think I had like 15 tackles or something. I'm walking off the field. I'm walking off the field and, just dirty in Miami. And I remember Marino coming over to me. And was like, hey, 25, you're going to be a hell of a player, man. Keep working. And I was just like, oh, thanks. I appreciate that, and that meant a lot to me as a rookie, somebody like Dan Marino to recognize the ability, and I just remember Ricky saying, don't get caught up in the losing. He said, on every day, work on one part of your craft.
Right.
And I never forgot that. And I have passed that message on to so many of my mentees, man. And because that's it. I just told my daughter who plays lacrosse up in Philly,
Okay.
I was like, yo, I said, you go out here, sweetie. I said, control what you can control, your attitude, your effort, your output. I
Right.
said, and then work on one aspect of your game, whether it's, it's cradling, whether it's your footwork, trying to get some shots in goal, or you defending a girl, you put that stick on her, let her feel you,
Right.
But yeah, man, that was, he taught me a lot of lessons, man. He's the godfather to my daughters, and like I said, that's my dude, man. He helped me a lot, in Tampa, man. Even when the game quit me, he
Right.
was a big part of helping me to continue to keep my grind and keep my focus.
Right.
Gotcha.
Man, oh my gosh. I was gonna ask you, so when you went with the Bucks, how was it? I think it was Sam White. He was the head coach.
Yeah,
What was it like
yeah.
playing for him?
Sam was a politician.
Okay.
I always say Sam should get into politics. I mean, I think his
Oh,
best
Lord.
years were probably in Cincinnati.
Mhm.
At that point, when he got to Tampa, he was kind of on the tail end of it.
Yeah.
He was okay. Nice guy. He's a nice enough guy, but Sam was more of a politician than a coach.
Yeah.
And so the one thing is, after having such a strong college coach, I never had one of those in the NFL. So I
Oh, okay,
never, I never had that great situation, because I went from getting drafted by Richard Williamson, then Sam Weiss being the coach, and then Dennis Erickson coming from
Yeah.
college to the pros in Seattle. So I never really had that good head coach on the NFL side, especially because I had such a great example of what head coaching is and should be from George Welsh.
Nice, man. So tell me about your short stint with the Seahawks. Like, what was that like?
Interesting. It was. I never pictured myself being in Seattle.
Yeah.
When I was going through free agency, the Jets brought me in. The Jaguars brought me in. Pittsburgh brought me in, and I really wanted to go to Pittsburgh.
Right.
I really wanted to go to Pittsburgh.
This was the team back then, boy.
And it was a good look. I had a great workout for them. I sat down with the DB coach. We were going through some things in the room, and I remember Bill Cowher popping his head in the room saying, "Hey, coach, can this guy help us?" And he was like, "Absolutely." And so we left there and we went. Coach Cowher and I went and watched my tape. That we watched the tape of some other guys that they had worked out. And, to myself, I'm like, okay, these dudes can't touch me.
Exactly.
Not just from the workout I just did.
Yeah.
And so, he was just like, well, look, Tony, he said, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to just be up front. He said, you'll play 55% this year. He said, we feel like we're going to lose one of our guys to free agency. So it was either going to be Cornell Lake or Darren Perry. They felt like they were going to lose one to free agency.
Right.
And so he was just like, we can't afford to have a drop off. So I'm like, cool, coach, look, I want to be here. I want to wear the black and gold. Right. And so he was like, all right, well, let's try to get this done. So Pittsburgh wanted 2 years and an option. They infamous for that option year.
Okay.
But that holds the player hostage.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm like, all right, let's just do the straight 2-year deal. Let me show my worth, show you what's up, and they wouldn't budge on the option year. And so, financially it didn't make sense, because it's okay, I'm gonna play 55% the next year. Okay, so I'm making backup money. Okay, you lose a starter, and then I'm the starter. I'm making backup money. And you got an option year for me to make backup money again.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so financially, it didn't make sense. And so Seattle comes out of nowhere, didn't talk to anybody. They flew me out. Eugene Robinson has, coming off an Achilles injury. We don't know if he's going to make it back, and so on and so forth. We really feel like you can help us, man. Right. I'm like, all right. They gave straight 2-year deal. I'm like, all right, cool.
Nice.
We 2 years, 2 years, we in and out. It was a career killing decision.
Oh, really? Why was that?
You don't know that at the time. The coaching was terrible.
Oh,
it was, and that's why I was saying
makes
the whole
sense,
the Dennis Erickson experience.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so I remember going out there, and Eugene Robinson did make it back. Robert Blackman was the strong safety. So both of them making $1 million per.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Then the dudes that were the backups, Jay Bellamy and Raphael, I forget what Raph's last name was, but dudes could play. So you got
Yeah. It was
three
nice.
backups dudes that could be starters.
Exactly. Yeah.
It just, bro, it wasn't enough airtime for
Right.
everybody. So it was the most frustrating experience, quite honestly. And I didn't handle it well, quite honestly. I did not handle it well because I felt like they lied to me to get me out there. And so here I am, feeling like I'm wasting away. I'm going hard. I'm trying, I'm like, okay. So when the season was over, I mean, they would do things like we playing Buffalo. They would fly all the way across the country, get to the game. Like, all right, well, we're gonna sit you down this week. Well, damn, you could have left me in Seattle.
Yeah, that don't make no sense. So what would you do though? Like, what would you just be on the sidelines?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I can see
that
how
makes
that
no
messes with
sense.
your
Yeah.
So and it was just like that happened a couple of different times, and I just I didn't handle it well. The trip to Buffalo, I was just like, hey, I ain't got to be at the game tomorrow. I'm breaking curfew. I'm at the club.
Yeah, hey, it is what it is.
I strolled back in with a McDonald's bag in the morning. So I mean, that wasn't the right way to handle it, man.
Yeah,
It was.
But you was hurt, man.
But I didn't feel like a part of the team from that standpoint. The guys were mad cool. Love the dudes. There was some dudes that could straight up go get it. Cortez Kennedy, Chris Warren. We had some soldiers that could go get it. Right. Brian Blades. So you had some guys that could play, but it was a frustrating experience for me. And like my DB coach, we didn't have the best rapport. And then so when the off season happened, I couldn't wait to get out of there and get back to Tampa. Right. Because I was just like, all right.
That's where you set up shop.
Right. I need to get back and get my training on. I said that because I was like, all right, I got one more year there. It's a contract year. Right. So I went back home and trained with some of my former dudes that played for the Bucs. It was like Ricky, Mark Carrier, Courtney Hawkins, and Lawrence Darcy. We all hired a trainer that we were working with. And I mean, we put in some work, and so that was a time when Seattle was trying to move to LA. They made the move. The commissioner made the move back to Seattle. I was like, I'm not trying to get caught up in all that out there.
It's a mess.
Right. So I go back in the best shape of my career.
Yeah.
We get to, OTAs and we get to the camp, fellas looking at me like, dude, what in the hell was you doing in Tampa? I was like, bruh, it's money time. It's money time. Yeah. I'm training in the heat, bro. I was fast. I was strong. The coach was like, obviously we didn't have to worry about you being out here in the off season. And I was like, coach, I said, it's time to put this work in. Let's go. He's like, I got big plans for you this year. So the first game we're playing, I can't remember who we were playing, but it was a preseason game. And that had a good game. It was like late in the fourth quarter. Coach was like, hey, Cov, can you cover this punt? And I was just like, I was like, okay. I strained my groin. It's like a minute to go in the game, covering the daggone punt.
God.
Strained my groin. We were playing the Raiders the following Thursday. I'm getting treatment every day. And I couldn't go. And so my defense coordinator was like, look, I don't want that thing to be lingering. I was like, coach, I'm in the training room all day. I'm several times a day, early, late, Yeah. He was like, look, I don't want that lingering into the season. We got big plans. Okay, cool. So didn't play the Raiders game, came back the next week. We played the Colts in Indianapolis. Now at this time, I've shipped my truck back out. Me and my boy, we about to sign a lease on an apartment. And I balled in Indianapolis. We fly back to Seattle, and they were like, hey, coach want to see you. I'm like, coach want to see me for?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I go, and he was like, yeah, we're gonna take a chance on some younger guys, so on and so forth. And we know there's some interest in you, blah blah blah. I'm like, all right, thanks for the opportunity. So I'm out. And it was late in training camp. Got no calls. Initially, there was a situation where a coach called and was like, hey, we were interested in Covington. It's between him and another guy, and the other guy had played for the coach for another team, so he ended up getting the nod. So I didn't play that whole season. So, but I was still training. Then I called my old George Stewart, who was my special teams coach in Tampa. He was with the 49ers then. So I hit him up. He got me a workout with the 49ers. Jim Moore Jr. was the coach. Went out, had a bomb workout for them. After I was done, they called me over and was just like, what happened in Seattle? And I was just like, they just told my agent they wanted to take a chance with some younger guys. That's all I know. Then he was like, look, he was like, you could play both safety positions. You got a lot of years left. Great workout today. He was like, I'm going to be straight up. He was like, we're trying to sign Rod Woodson to shore up our corner situation. If we sign Rod Woodson, we're not going to have any money available for you. And so I was like, all right, thank you for your honesty. They signed Rod Woodson. I never played again.
Man,
that was it. It was over.
Hey, man,
just like that.
Yeah, just like that, man. But
then you find out. So, a year or so later, I'm playing in a celebrity tournament with Warren Sapp and down in Tampa. And Sapp was like, yo, man, he was like, real talk. He was like, they were pissed at you because you did not come and work out in the off season with them. And I was like, wait a minute, what? He was like, yeah. And I was like, but I came into camp in the best shape of my life. He was like, yeah, but the fact that you wasn't there, it was a big struggle against you. Yes.
That's annoying,
wow.
man.
And so
press, like,
man.
And
so the thing was because Dennis Erickson loyal to the Miami dudes. So there was so many former Miami Hurricanes on that team. Yeah. And I'm talking about some dudes that could not play. But they had played for Dennis.
They played for
played for him in Miami. Them jokers on the team. And so Sapp, Sapp, he in that Hurricane pipeline. So, he was kind of giving me the 411. He was like, yeah, bro. He said, they put a word out on you. And I was just like, wow. So these jokers gonna blackball me and, screw my career up. Really? I was like, wow. But look, I mean, I was pissed at the time, but God had another purpose, man. And I had to just take it like that. 5 years, hey, I stole 5 years because I wasn't looking for that. But it was just God had another plan.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So tell us about the other plan, man. Like, so you transition out of the NFL, out of football. What next? Like, did you have a plan in mind? Like I said, you went to University of Virginia for your degree in academics. So what was your plan outside of football once you were done?
So I wanted to get into real estate. I thought about doing that. And that situation didn't work out because, for me, it was like, okay, the game quit me. I'm like, well, all right, well, I got a degree from the University of Virginia. So I'm going to be all right. They told me that, once you get the degree, the job's going to come to you. And I'm all right, cool. Yeah, no, it don't work like that, And so call it me being naive or, but I hadn't done the networking. I hadn't done the internships. I hadn't done that stuff. Nobody put me up on game on those critical pieces. I went in, important. I did the degree. I did, I played the sport. All right, now I'm gonna enjoy the fruits of the labor because I did it. Well, nah, bro, it's other pieces that go hand in hand with that. Yeah. And those are the pieces that they don't teach these athletes. They don't teach you that part. Right. And so it was, dude, my first job. And so I was working on a couple of business ventures, trying to, some friends of ours, we had, before Dave and Buster's we had this Dave and Buster's concept, this indoor family entertainment. So this was way before. Wow, man. And so, we went out, we were pursuing investors. We met, a friend of mine was working for Magic Johnson. So sent her an executive summary. She put it in front of Magic. They had us on a plane out there immediately. We went out, met with Magic, had a great conversation with him. He and I really hit it off. And, we're like, hey, we'll stay in contact. Now his people tried to steal the concept.
I would figure
from us, but we had to, they had to sign forms, so they couldn't.
Yeah.
Then we met with Mike Tyson's people, you know. So I mean, we met with a bunch of different people, man, and we could never really get the investment that we needed to get it going. So you know, it was just like, you know, people think, all right, well, you play in the NFL, you get all this money. No, it don't work like that, fam. Not in the mid '90s. It won't that kind of dough. It won't. It ain't
Exactly.
rolling like it was now. And so you know, you can invest, you can do this, but if you don't have that income coming in,
right,
bro, you got big bills. You got house, you got car. You know, because I took my time to get my things. Finally, I got a house. So if I'd have known, you know, I didn't get a house until after my 4th year.
Oh wow.
So I'm like, all right, did I think my career was going to be over in a year? No.
Yeah.
So I made the investment. You know, I had, you know, had a truck, had a car, had some jet skis. You know, took care of my family. All of a sudden, bro, you know, them big bills, they wouldn't get met. You know, and so it's like, all right, I got to find a job. And okay, I have no work experience. You know, so it's like, wow. Whoa, all right, well, you know what? I think I can sell because I can communicate pretty good. So man, I was selling water treatment equipment, bro.
Man, what is that?
Out. That was my first, you know, like the in-home systems where they soften your water.
So, I got you.
Yeah. So, you know, $5,000 piece of equipment, you going into somebody's house, making them believe that they got to have this $5,000 piece of equipment, or their life won't be the same. And I got real good at it because it was 100% commission.
Oh, nice. Okay.
You know, so you sell, you get paid. You don't, you don't. You know, and then it was hard because the commission was based on how good or the credit was. If you got A1 credit, I get $1,000 off that deal. Right. But that same presentation with bad credit, I might get $39 off of it. You know, so it was hard, fam. It was hard. God. It was hard.
Imagine, man.
You know, and so then it was, all right, I gotta find something else. And I did a lot of volunteer work in Tampa and was really close to one of the surgeons at one of the major hospitals who just happened to be the president of the board at the American Heart Association. And so he was like, Tony, he said, man, you know, people love when you come and speak at the hospital. Have you ever thought about nonprofit work? And I was like, nah, not really. And so then he introduced me there. They had an opportunity of something that they were trying. I got the gig and it was like, hey, we've never done anything like this before, but here's the manual, make it go. And, you know, that started my nonprofit work, and I did it for did nonprofit work for several major nonprofits, national nonprofits, for 20 years.
Man, that's incredible, man. So, look, what type of nonprofit work do you do?
So then I was
a few things, or
I mean, so initially it was they had designed this program that was a marathon training program.
Okay.
And so what I had to do was, you know, market it, recruit for it, and raise money for it, because the ultimate goal was to raise money for stroke research and education.
Right.
Okay. And so once I got into it, I realized that I was changing lives with the work that I was doing. And, you know, we would have people come to a meeting because the goal was to teach them that they could train and raise money for a marathon or half marathon in a bunch of different locations around the world. Right. And so having them understand it, learning about the devastation of stroke, and its impact on society, specifically for African Americans. Right. And it was an amazing education for me. And I was changing people's lives with the work that I was doing. And so that's what hooked me for nonprofit, because I like every day that I wake up, I can raise $1 to save a person's life.
Yeah, man.
You know, and
that's
so
rewarding, man.
I dedicated my life to service at that point right there, you know, and, you know, so that's why I stayed in nonprofit for so long.
Right.
Gotcha.
Man.
Wow.
I mean, I probably, man, in 20 years, I raised probably $50 million.
Wow.
You know, for various organizations.
Man, you're doing your thing, man. Hey,
Yeah, I mean,
I
it
know
was. He was. I was. I was doing
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
man.
that's a grind. That's a grind from water equipment
Yeah, it's
to
hard, bro.
nonprofits.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
And it's hard. It's hard work, man. People don't understand because they say, "Oh, it's nonprofit." I'm like, yeah, but the goal is to make a profit to make change. But it's hard work, though, bro. It's hard.
yeah,
I can imagine, man. Because you got a lot of people that believe and don't believe in it. You know what I mean? Because for as many people that believe in nonprofit, there's a lot of people that don't believe in it. I'm pretty sure you ran into a
yeah,
lot of that too. You know?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man. Go ahead, Jay. You had a question?
I mean, so I'm about to say, so how long was your stint with these nonprofits? Was it because you said 20 years? Were you with like one place for like 5 years and then 5 year segments, or how did
Well,
that go?
it was. So the first one was probably my longest stint at the Heart Association. That was 6 years. Then it was
Ah,
two,
okay.
2 or 3 here, 2 or 3 there, 3 there, 8 months. I mean, it was just
Yeah,
it was a
okay.
wild dynamic, and fundraisers. It's kind of like that in the fundraising world, development officers, and you're wanting to go in, make an impact, but every nonprofit doesn't necessarily have their shit together. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Oh
And
yeah,
so
yeah,
you can go in and try to get it done, but the bureaucracy and the politics that are involved make it a challenge, and look, all I want to do is change people's lives. Let me,
yeah,
let the leader lead and go ahead and get this money so we can have this impact that's going to change it for the better,
Yeah.
right.
and you don't always get to do that. And I've always said that I was much more than just a fundraiser. I could go out and talk the talk and raise the money,
Right.
but I'm very much a strategic thinker, and
Hmm.
so, a couple of places that I've been have allowed me to think strategically. And so I enjoyed those experiences, but then ultimately, and it's the crazy thing, as I said, all my years of nonprofit, I either was starting something for them or
Hmm.
Mhm.
fixing something that was broken. I never walked into a fluid situation,
Right. Yeah.
where it was just running smoothly and I could be the value add that was taking it to the next level. It was
Mhm.
always fixing it or starting it,
Right.
and but what it taught me was, how to do it and how not to do
Right.
it.
Yeah,
So, you know,
yeah.
with the
Yeah.
ultimate goal of having my own nonprofit.
Okay.
Oh, all right. So this,
Yeah, man.
okay. So you did. So you did have your own nonprofit, essentially.
Yeah, so eventually, I mean, I just got my nonprofit last November.
Oh,
Oh,
congrats,
okay. So
Now
man.
this is huge.
Congrats.
All
Now,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
So what I do right now, it's in a holding pattern because I have a 9 to 5 that dominates my time. So my nonprofit, although I've been working on aspects of it for 10 years or so,
Right.
um, it's there, it's ready, but I want to make sure that I can dedicate the time that it deserves to it.
Yeah.
But right now, with my current job, it is demanding because I'm creating, it's not nonprofit anymore. I'm working for a for-profit organization, but it
Right.
is creating and developing something for nonprofits,
Yeah.
Oh
which
wow.
is which
Okay.
is which is funny. Which
That
for
says
for
ironic, right?
nonprofits, and then I have to sell it to them. So it
Okay.
started something from the beginning, and now I'm shaping and molding it, and we're ready. We're hopefully ready to go to market here some point soon.
Okay.
Gotcha.
That's what's
Okay.
up, man. Like I said, I won't hold you too long. I had a few more questions. You got
Yeah,
some
yeah.
time? We'll let you go.
Oh yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna ask you, man. So, my other co-host Z, like I said, he's out. He had brought up. Like I said, I didn't even know. He said, "Hey, Tony, because he does, he's a Steelers fan, but he's a sports fan in general.
Hmm.
Yeah.
He listens to your, I guess your thing you're doing on radio for UVA football. So, what are you doing for them? So so you call UVA football games
Yeah,
on the radio?
yeah. I am the radio color commentary for Virginia football.
That's what's up, man.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I enjoy it.
yeah, how long have you been doing that? And like, well, you say you enjoyed it. I guess tell me some of the the perks and some of the things you enjoy about doing that.
Well, it keeps me around my alma mater and the guys, so I get to talk to them, engage. When they have questions, they can come to me and remember all the things that I told you that I thought I did the right way.
Right. You can
Yeah.
educate
Now
them.
I get the opportunity to educate them.
That's what's
And
up, man.
and really to because I was kind of vague, my nonprofit is focused on life skills development for
Oh,
student athletes.
okay.
That's what my nonprofit is based on. And
Ah,
so I've been doing a lot of that kind of the one-offs where I'm just talking and advising them. They know that when they have a question, they can pick up a phone and hit me up. Hey, I need an attorney. I'm thinking about getting into this. I'm like, all right, well, what state are you in? All right, cool. Let me dip into the network. Call
Hmm.
somebody. Hey, call such and such. They're expecting your call, or I can advise, or I'm gonna open the door for them in any way, shape, or form to
Right.
help them be successful. And they know that. And
right.
so, having a group of mentors that can, because I want them to then turn and share that story. Ultimately, once I get things together, I want them to be able to come work for me so that we can go out and develop these young folks, because I developed a curriculum for high school students on the college side as well, because I want them to be equipped when they move through and navigate through life. They taking pieces and taking the critical pieces, but they know what to pull to help themselves. And so with the ultimate goal of when you're leaving high school, you've got the diploma, your high school diploma in one hand and a plan for
Mhm.
college in the other. And then when you
Nice.
matriculate through college, then you have the degree in hand and a life plan in the other. Whether you play
Yeah.
sports or not, you got to have a plan, because we good for
You
telling
do.
kids, hey, have a plan for your life. And then we don't teach them how to build a
Yeah.
plan you
Yeah.
know
Yeah, that's
and
true.
so ultimately, I'd love to have my guys be able to come back, because a lot of them really want to impact communities, and so this is a great way to do it. And so that's I want to be able to build something where they can do that, and so it
Right.
becomes a pipeline to help. So you walk away, whether you're playing in the league or not, and you got something where you can have the impact that you want to have, and change people's lives. So it keeps me around the kids, my broadcast team, my play by play guy. He's dope. He's really showing me the ropes. Our statistician, we engineer.
Man.
We got a real good group, man.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate the opportunity that UVA has given me. And shoot, I think this will be year. I think I started in 2012, I believe, was my first year. So yeah, man, we rolling, and looking forward to a season. It's tough during the lean years when we aren't winning,
Right.
because I'm such a homer that
It
I
affects
am
you.
die hard. I am die hard, and it's you can hear it in my voice. But the
Yeah.
one thing that the people appreciate is that I'm gonna keep it a full buck.
Yeah.
They know, they like, Tony gonna call it like he see, not gonna sugarcoat it, because that's not what I do. And so
Yeah.
I've had to work on being a little bit more um tactful in my approach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's hard when you're as passionate about the
Yeah.
university as I am.
That's
Nah,
what's
that
up,
makes
man.
sense.
Shoot,
Yeah.
how's UVA football looking this upcoming season? Just for
Uh,
some of our guys that watch UVA football, like I said, I've watched UVA, over the years, and look like you said, the program just keeps getting better. It looks like you guys are
mhm.
getting a lot more high-end athletes, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I
Yep.
mean, I think one
Yeah.
of the biggest issues with UVA was it's just like your guys, some of the guys you're looking at are going to either like Virginia Tech or those types of schools. Well, on the
Mhm.
football field, because
Mhm.
UVA is known for academics first
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
football
Right.
second. But
Right.
how what's the outlook for this upcoming season, man?
So to me address that point, it's not an even playing field when it comes
No, it's
to
not.
recruitment and the academic side. A lot of kids cannot get into UVA. Let's
Makes
be
sense.
clear. So
Makes
a
sense. Yeah.
kid that may be able to get into a Virginia Tech or an LSU or a Clemson cannot get into UVA. There have been athletes that have wanted to come to UVA, and
Uh-huh.
we couldn't work out the academic pieces.
Oh,
That's the
Oh,
part that
wow.
people don't know. So, because
Okay.
UVA is not going to relax their standards when it comes
for
to
anybody.
admission.
Right.
Plain and simple. They don't care. They are an academic university.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, there's a lot of smart kids out there that can handle it, because you want to be able to make sure that you set a kid up to be successful and coming to UVA, because
Mm-hmm.
it's a 40-year decision is what you're making. you
Mm-hmm.
know now, the UVA football team this year should be pretty good. We will be explosive on offense. Defense, we are known for creating havoc on defense. The corners is the only position that I'm worried about. I think everywhere else I'm feeling real comfortable. But yeah, man, I think I think we're going to surprise some people. People always tend to underestimate that UVA squad, so I think we're going to surprise some people this year. And yeah, we should be challenging for the Coastal.
Really, man. Okay. Hey, I'm gonna definitely be on the lookout, man. You know, the last thing on the UVA subject, who's the quarterback for them now? Who's their guy?
Brennan Armstrong. So this will be his second year as a starter, a lefty. The Red Rocket, Red Rocket.
Red Rocket.
Wow. Tough. He's tough. He's gritty. He can make every throw. He can run it too. But he's a player, man. He's a gamer. A lot of moxie, a lot of leadership. And then, so his first year starting, he didn't have the spring, he didn't have the winter workouts. He didn't have all of that because of COVID.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah. So now, he's been able to have that. Now he's had a full spring, and now he's getting an opportunity to work with his receivers. Although we did lose our star rookie from last year, 6'7" Lavelle Davis, to an ACL injury at the beginning of spring. So he's probably lost until November, but we've got some other pieces that's going to show improve.
Okay. All right, man. So my last question, probably one of the biggest questions, man. So I was made aware. So you have a book out, man. So can you tell us a little bit about your book and what it's about?
Yeah, the book is called "I Am Underdog: A Journey of Adversity and Blessings," and it's a story of my life. You guys heard me talk a little bit about. People always underestimated me, and people say, "How in the world are you an underdog? You went to University of Virginia on full scholarship. You played in the NFL. You were all rookie. You've raised millions of dollars for nonprofits to change people's lives. How are you an underdog?" And I'm like, because people have doubted me and underestimated me my entire life, and I spent a lifetime of proving them wrong. And so I love that. I'm the one that you should not bet against. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so through that, I relish being that underdog, that overachiever, and proving people wrong. And I created this whole underdog pledge. I have an underdog mentality. Man. So it's a vibe, and it chronicles a lot of what I have kind of gone through. And sometimes when you're going through that adversity, you don't really realize the blessings that are around the corner or that mold you, that you gain from it. When you're going through the shit, you're going through it and you just don't see it until you come out on the other side and you're like, wow, that was a blessing in disguise. But sometimes, you got to learn iron sharpens iron, and you have to go through it sometime in order to get where you want to get. And so the book is a lot about that. And so it's a story of hope and inspiration. And that's what I wanted people to get from it.
Okay.
All right.
No doubt, man. Hey, thanks for that, man.
So cop that.
There we go. I was waiting for. Look, if you weren't gonna do that, like, man, I've been lying to this past hour to change. Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely send Rome the links and stuff like that too.
Yeah, man.
To add and everything too in the podcast and everything.
Facts. We'll do.
I'm gonna definitely add it to my library, man. Hey, it was great chatting with you, man.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. It was awesome with you guys too. You guys, I have a podcast too, and you guys remind me a lot of how. My Ahmad Hawkins, the ball hawk, he's my co-host, and
really?
It's around UVA sports and football specifically.
Yeah.
And it's just, we believe in providing a platform for guys to tell their narrative. You see guys, you can look at the statistics, but do you really know these guys when you're a fan of the school? And getting to know them, it's totally different. And we keep it 8 past 92. Every episode. So, it's a lot of fun. It's called The Lockdown. So you guys, if you get a chance, check it out.
It's on Apple Podcast.
Both. And Locker Room Access. So Yeah, man, we have a lot of fun. I guarantee you guys will laugh hysterically because we act the damn fool. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. That's all right.
That's what's up, man. Hey, I'm definitely gonna check it out, man. Hey, the one last question before I let you go, because it's a big one. We get asked all guests when they come on the show. What is your opinion about the college athletes getting paid, man? What is your opinion?
They should get paid. It's no question. If you don't pay them, then don't try to benefit from the university. The university shouldn't be able to benefit off their likeness. You know that's just to me. Man. You know, that's a damn Greek tragedy right there. You know, and these kids should get paid. So you got a guy that has his jersey in the bookstore and he can't even afford to buy his own jersey. Come on, really?
It just don't have his name on the back of it. It just it has his number, but don't have his name.
You know, but you got all these people in the stands rocking that jersey.
It's crazy.
You know, so I mean, you know, pay these dudes, man. Pay these dudes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right, man. Like I said, we're gonna wrap up. Hey, Tony, you're welcome to come on anytime with us, brother, man. We greatly appreciate you. You know, for hopping on with us.
Been a pleasure.
Yeah, man. So everybody, that concludes our show. Be sure to subscribe to Tony's podcast, cop his new book. I Am Underdog. And then, like I said, for us, we'll be back at it next week. Take it easy.
All right, later.